Hello, everybody. Welcome to Coffee and Customer Service. My name is Jeremy Watkin. I am the Director of Customer Service for Phone.com. It's a Phone.com Friday, and I'm here with my partner in crime, Jenny Dempsey, as we write our customer service blog, Communicate Better blog. Jenny, how's it going? What are you drinking?
Going great, and I'm drinking some nice iced tea today. It may
Wow.
look like something else in there, but it's iced tea.
Mixing it up.
Absolutely, I know. I still got my jug of water, staying hydrated. What are you drinking over there, Jeremy?
I am rocking I've been through two venti Starbucks green teas.
Ooh.
And now I'm just, the ice is so good that I love refilling it and continuing to drink out of the cup. And, I mean, these cups just give me so much confidence that it's like liquid confidence. Anyway, so yeah, I'm drinking Starbucks infused water at the moment, if that actually means anything. But yeah, we were so excited last week to have a special guest, Doug Sandler, and we're like, yes, we lined up two guests, so it's not just Jenny and I talking. But we got this week we got Nate Brown from you can introduce yourself.
Sure.
I'll Nate, yeah, maybe go ahead and introduce yourself, and I'll fill in if you.
My pleasure. So my name is Nate. So I work for UL, or Underwriters Laboratories. I'm the manager of customer support for workplace health and safety. Very happy to be with you guys today.
Woo. Glad you're here.
What are you drinking?
Well, Jeremy, today I'm drinking hot chocolate in my I Love TFC mug. And TFC is Toccoa Falls College, and that's where I graduated. It's a little tiny school in northeast Georgia, and I had the best 4 years of my life there, and I love that place. And it's College Colors Day, so I had to represent the TFC mug.
Oh, college. It is
Nice.
College Colors Day? All right, I got black, and I'll bring my bag. It's red.
Right on, perfect. There you go.
Nice.
I think I missed mine. What's mine? Green and gold?
You're
This
great.
is green, right? It's not the right shade. I'm sure of that, but Point Loma Nazarene University.
Right on. Oh yeah, my cousin went to Point Loma. That's great.
When did when did he or she graduate?
It was 2008 that he would have graduated.
Wow, that's cool. Maybe we shouldn't name drop on we'll say, hey, you got mentioned on a Google Plus Hangout. I'd like to know if I met that person though.
Brown.
So yeah, so it's great to have you here. So I'll just talk about how we met, Nate. I was kind of on short paternity leave, and we got an email from Nate saying that he had an idea for a blog post. If you've ever read the Bible, the parable of the sower, and talking about the fertile soil, and Nate had this idea to translate that into cultivating fertile soil for our customer service teams, and talking about ultimately how that translates to awesome customer experiences. So yeah, I mean that's right up our alley. We were excited. We always love collaborating with other people on blog posts. It breaks out of the routine and makes it so much fresher. But Nate, maybe you could talk a little bit more about the vision, and just to give a little bit more background, Jenny, Nate, and I each wrote a blog post on this topic. Kind of just went with our own experiences, kind of around the gardening theme, which is rich, fertile ground for customer service insights. But Nate kind of kicked it off, and it was really his idea, and it was just a great experience to be able to do this with him. So, Nate, what was kind of the vision there, and what did you talk about in your post?
Yeah, I appreciate that. And let me start by saying I'm not near as cool as DJ Jug, so I'm not going to be able to hold a candle to his awesomeness from last week. But I definitely appreciate you guys collaborating with me on this. And I was looking around and kind of viewing our situation. And most of the blog posts that I write is me learning. And so you're probably going to notice a trend with mine it's not a lot of just especially innovative stuff. It's just kind of me for the first time exploring a lot of these concepts and getting hands-on with them, and then being able to articulate to other people what I'm experiencing and what I'm learning through the process. And this was no exception to that. I was viewing some team dynamics and some other things that were happening not only within my organization here, but just friends of mine in different situations in which I've been a part, if nothing else than just kind of counseling and being there to help others, and noticing a trend with these concepts where an executive will put out this battle cry for customer loyalty, or we need to foster better customer experiences, and not really go into depth about what actually needs to happen to execute on that. And so thinking back and kind of scaling back, what does a company actually do to increase customer loyalty without obviously making the product or service better? How do you as a company react to the customer-centric culture, the age of the customer that we live? And for me, that challenge has manifested in a lot of different ways, and it's getting back to the roots and the whole cultivating concept, the roots of growing and cultivating the customer experience. And it starts with teams for me. I mean, we always go back to employee engagement, and that absolutely is the cornerstone for great customer experiences. But even before that, when you're thinking about how we're going to organically grow the customer experience, I think we need to reverse beyond employee engagement and think about team dynamics and creating great teams that are helping each other and making a healthy environment in which we can work. And then ultimately leading up to the fact that it's got to be authentic relationships that we have with each other to ultimately be able to have authentic relationships with our customers, and kind of growing the soil for that. So I'm thinking through, I'm like, who can help me articulate this concept better than anybody else? And I was cyber stalking you guys, and when I was trying to kind of get into the blogging game just very recently, and I mean, you guys are the best, and you set the bar for me, and so I kind of was like, man, I really would like to get Jenny and Jeremy's attention to see if they would help me get this out there. And you guys were so helpful and responsive to that, and I can't believe it. I can't believe that I'm talking to you, first of all, which is so exciting, and that this blog post happened. I just love it.
I think you're our first groupie, just FYI.
I'll take it. Awesome. We'll be your last.
So I kind of carried it forward. I think I carried it forward a little bit. Nate, I think, Nate, you have a lot of experience with, maybe let's go tangent a little bit, because I talked, and Jenny and I obviously talk a lot about StrengthsFinder, but you talked a lot about some of the other different assessments that are out there. What are some of your favorite, favorite tools that you use for team dynamics? I know you talked about DISC, 5 dysfunctions, and what are your favorite tools out there that you've used with your team?
I absolutely love this. I think it's fantastic, and I'm going up to Chicago in a few weeks to actually get certified and being able to facilitate this discussions with other teams. So I've been doing a lot of studying in that area and just seeing the impact that it has. We have another organization here in Nashville, Dave Ramsey. I don't know if you're familiar with Dave Ramsey. He's a finance coach, and he has his organization here in Nashville. And
I'm financially free.
Yeah, they got the whole, I'm debt free. They have their shout outs. They're down like a mile from us. So we can drive down and see him live doing his radio show in the afternoons and all that. And they just have a fantastic organization. Well, what they take this so far is to even have people's name tags with their DISC profile on, so that you can be approaching somebody and knowing their communication style and kind of know what to expect from that person in terms of how to best communicate with them before you even start the conversation. I just think there's so much truth in that DISC assessment and can really help when it comes to moving a team forward when you already have a really healthy team. And that first post was kind of about how can we first get past the rocky soil and get to a point where we know we're in the good soil, and then we start using some of the cultivating techniques like DISC and StrengthsFinder and 5 dysfunctions. So I don't know if you wanted to talk about that a little bit, but kind of getting to that point first, and then kind of accelerating the process using those tools.
Yeah. Well, I had a lot of fun with my post sharing one of my favorite stories. How at some point, my dogs, I have chocolate labs, so they eat everything, and I would feed them tomatoes, and sure enough, we had a bucket of dog poop in the backyard, where I would shovel the poop and then later take it around the house to the trash can. And I took a little longer one time, and it rained, and sure enough, a tomato plant sprouted out of the bucket of dog poop. And Jenny at the time called them poo-matoes, appropriate. And I don't know if it's a perfect analogy, but it was great to find an excuse to use that story in a blog post. But you do think about on our teams, even in dysfunctional teams, you can grow stuff. Sometimes you can grow a lot of stuff, but sometimes the fruit isn't appetizing. I don't know. Fortunately, I had a friend. I might have actually tried them. I had a friend that he's got his degree in like public health, and he's a health inspector, and said absolutely don't eat those. But yeah, so I kind of segued that into talking about StrengthsFinder, because that's mostly where my experience is. But hearing you talk about DISC, I think they're working to achieve a similar end. But kind of my points with what I really see as being just a great thing about tools like this are, first of all, it shows your employees that you're investing in them, that they are important, not just as people to affect your bottom line, though that's a benefit. They are people, and whether they work for you or someone else, you're investing in them and telling them that they are important as individuals. And that investment, first of all, teaches them about themselves, which some people, you can look at people in your life and see who's fairly self-aware and those who are not. And hopefully it gives people some sense of self-awareness. StrengthsFinder helps people to understand what they're good at, rather than beating themselves up over what they're not good at. And then once they kind of get a grasp of that, then you bring the team aspect in and help them learn about one another. And one thing that's been really insightful just for me professionally was understanding what other people are good at that I'm not, and being confident enough to say, okay, let's work together, and we're going to be so much better together than, for example, I am not a strategic person, but I know the people that I work with that are, and so when I really need to be strategic, I work with them. And it's so much better than if I had just beat my head against the wall trying to do that myself. And a lot of people will come to me on the relational side because I sense things that the really strategic folks don't sense. But man, StrengthsFinder, my top strength is harmony. So ultimately, I love these tools because the team starts to, maybe we don't get along and go hang out after work all the time, but we build some cohesion to be able to work together effectively, and the company benefits as a result. If you start out with just wanting to make money and fitting people in these jobs, and you don't think about these foundational building blocks in this fertile soil, then you're kind of starting out of order. So that's kind of where I came at it from. And it's cool to hear you talk about DISC, because I think it really is working toward a similar end. And I'm interested to talk to you more, Nate, once you go through that training. I'd like to learn about that. Maybe we can get you to come talk to our team about that.
That would be awesome.
Yeah. I had never even heard about it before. Actually, when I was reading your post, I was like, oh, I didn't know about this. I didn't know about this. And so I was like looking it up. I was like, oh, this is really interesting. And so I would, love to learn about it more. StrengthsFinder is incredible, and it's done so much great stuff. And what Jeremy was saying, one of the other things I wanted to add was that when you're working with someone and
Did you say twerking?
I said
Just want to clarify.
The strength of yours, Jenny?
That's not, but ask our other employees. No, never mind. I won't say their name. But like if you're working with someone and maybe you're having a little bit of disagreement or you're not seeing things the same way, knowing their strengths and knowing where they're coming from, and it helps to kind of put you in their shoes. You're able to really understand them so much more, and it's helped with a lot of things like that because there's always going to be things like that happening in an office, but to be able to understand, put yourself in their shoes is pretty awesome.
So Jenny, what did you write about?
Well, nothing can, the Pumatos, I didn't have a story like that, but I was trying to think of some type of gardening experience because I really can't, I can't grow anything now. And when I was a kid, we had that garden, and I kind of went in an angle like this memory that I have from harvesting some stuff in the garden and digging down to get this carrot out of the ground. And, I grew up in Riverside County, which is like in the desert for the most part, and so digging into the ground, and there was this wolf spider den, and the wolf spider comes out, and these are big spiders, and they hairy spiders, and it scared me so much, but it got me thinking, you could have the soil, you could have the harvest of the garden growing, but when you dig a little deeper, you might hit some things that you were not expecting them to be there, and they'll jump out at you no matter how long the garden's been there and how long it's been fruitful. And it got me thinking about sometimes you have to become what did I say? You just have to step into the shoes of what you're trying to grow, and that was kind of the angle I went at, being the sunflower in the garden and taking in the sun and being the leader or being the carrot and going underground and really getting to the root of things, I guess so to say, and being the pumpkin on the vine with the team and, being able to kind of be molded into different things. Like pumpkins are used for, so much stuff, and it just, it's a dirty business, but there's obstacles that you have to overcome, or spiders' dens you may crawl into, but you still got to keep going, and there's success still waiting for you.
I loved your one of the things in your post about the sunflower dropping the seeds of knowledge. I mean, that was a cool analogy to begin with, but then even taking it to the next part and saying, and so it can be eaten by all these different types of animals. A lot of times, as a customer service manager, it's really easy to kind of protect my team and really foster my team, but to kind of forget about what that looks like in terms of being a good corporate citizen. And the sunflower, when I envision that analogy, it's just being a good steward of customer service to all your internal stakeholders and not having to be so protective of your team, but fostering good customer service across the organization. And a lot of times I forget that, and that was powerful for me to read that and remember. And if I want to demonstrate and lead by example to the development team, then I don't always need to be going down there and trying to hit them on the head. I need to be showing them what good service looks like.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, now that you've entered into the blog and social media world, your reach has grown outside of your organization as well.
Mm-hmm.
It's scary.
Yeah.
It's definitely a fun community, though.
Mm-hmm. It is.
Jenny, I know I told you that one thing I love about sunflowers is also the fact that they turn to face the sun at all times. Just keeping your eyes on the vision is really cool. And I'll tell you, I learned that from a Winnie the Pooh book.
That's great.
That's great. And you remembered it all these years, or was it something?
Probably a couple weeks ago.
Okay.
That's my world right now. Well, very cool. It's been great talking to you, Nate, about this series. Do you have another one on tap?
Yeah, what's
on
next?
your blog?
Well, so I'm thinking through, and so this was kind of about laying the foundation and really growing that soil and focusing on the team aspect especially. I was thinking through the next level, which I really feel like is employee engagement. now that we've kind of got a good, healthy team, we've got a good direction for our team, and we haven't rushed into trying to use a disc or something else. We've actually fostered authentic relationships among our teammates, and now we're just using those to cultivate and maintain the team. The next thing is, how do we really create employee engagement across the board? And I was reading that one Gallup poll that's really famous. I think it came out last year, and it was basically saying it's like 1 in 8 people are truly engaged at work and make meaningful contributions. You've got 7 people that are either actively disengaged or just kind of there, and they're just kind of there for a paycheck. And just the tragic consequence of having so few people that actually care about what they're doing. And I mean, for me, I just can't imagine being in a job that I wasn't passionate about. Like, I would despise everything about what I was doing if I wasn't in the right role where I could really let my skills, my strength finder profile come out and be utilized. And I'm finding out how rare that seems to be. And so we're doing, me and a friend of mine are going to try and do a post about zombies and talk about how you've got one person that's actively engaged. Those other 7 people are zombies of varying degrees. Mm-hmm. And so it's going to be all about protecting yourself in the office from getting bit and from getting that bug of allowing yourself to become disengaged. I feel like it can happen a lot of different ways. I mean, you've got the scenario where you start out in a role that you're passionate about, and then you plateau, and the role kind of loses its challenge, or things change, or you get a different boss, or something happens, and you don't even feel yourself becoming immune to doing the things that you used to do and feeling the way you felt about your job, but over time it happens. Mm-hmm. And then you've got those that just really aren't even in the place that they ought to be, and might not even know or understand that there's something out there that would be better for them. And so kind of going through that process of self-discovery. So it's kind of talking about how to prevent yourself from becoming a zombie, identifying if in fact you are working dead, and the whole theme would be working dead. And there's a great infographic that's out there about it that we would kind of piggyback off, and we were thinking about even trying to do a video kind of going off The Walking Dead a little bit and kind of doing some spoof on some of the characters, but bringing them into an office context,
Oh, fun. That's awesome.
Really fun and funny, but so that's what we're working on next.
That's awesome. I can't wait to read it.
Oh, yeah, that's great.
Just emphasize that you can't kill the zombies in this scenario.
That's good to know. You're right. We'll make a note.
Well, very cool. How long should we let the awkward pause go at the end of this hangout, Jenny?
Now, you know what? Well, since it's a first-time experience for Nate with the awkward pause, we'll let it go longer.
You know what I'm actually going to do? I think we need to make signs, and then when it gets awkward, we just pick up the sign and hold it up, so it really becomes a part of our hangouts.
I did bring a way to fill the awkward pause.
Nice.
Had to bring the ukulele in the office. Part about relieving stress in the office is having little ways that you can get back to a chill state, and this is mine.
Do you keep that by your desk all the time?
All the time, yes.
Nice.
I think
maybe I should do the same. We'll have ukulele breaks.
Yes.
Everybody's got their little things. I feel like for most people it's YouTube, but mine is the ukulele.
Yeah.
I love it.
It's a little bit more organic. Very cool. Well, Nate, maybe just a quick plug about how people follow you on Twitter and read your blog.
Yeah, I appreciate that. So I am at customerisfirst on Twitter. I don't know how I got that Twitter handle, because this just happened and it was somehow available. I couldn't get anything to do with my name. I tried 11 different things with Nate Brown and couldn't get it and got frustrated. First other thing I tried was customerisfirst, and bam, it came right up. So that's that, and then my blog is customercentricsupport.com. Forgot the domain I just bought. It's a lot of fun. I try and do a lot of original photography on the blog. One of my big things is having creative support interactions and kind of finding ways to, again, authentically engage customers. And there's so many good examples from like Amazon live chats. I don't know if you guys saw the one where they got off to the whole like Odin and Thor chat that just happened this week, and it went viral right away. But I love those authentic and different support interactions. And one of the reasons I was drawn to you guys is because your blog is different. It is engaging. You do so many different things with it. I feel like a lot of customer service authors kind of have just a really cut and dry site and don't really go for the engaging aspect. They kind of err on the side of analytical. And I definitely err on the side of creative, and I'm trying to become more statistical based and analytical. So I need to find balance to my force in that regard. But I would, anybody that wants to go out to customercentricsupport.com, I'd love any feedback, and you can find me there.
Very cool. Yeah, so I guess it's not, I should have told you my best friend when I was like 5 years old was named Nate Brown. And I actually had two best friends named Nate when I was 5, and then we moved away. But yeah, so I guess that's not saying much because there are a lot of Nate Browns.
I don't know any other Nate Brown, so I do think that is somewhat unique, and maybe Jeremy, I'm just reincarnating as your best friend now.
Well, I did say that we actually didn't end up going to the same college, so I did see him later in life. So I know he's still alive, and he hasn't. He's not making fertile soil right now.
No poop tomatoes there.
Yeah, exactly. Or working dead. I think you could use both of those. All right. Well, thanks so much, Nate. Thanks, Jenny, as always. It's been a pleasure. We'll do this again.
Yes.
You guys have a good week.
Thank
You too. Everybody have a terrific holiday weekend, and read our 3-part series about cultivating customer experiences. At least I didn't say twerking. And yeah, have a great holiday weekend.